All right, everybody, welcome to episode 6 of Kampai. I'm here today with our very, very special guest. This is Mac from a Maction planet. Mac, good to have you here.
Kampai.
Kampai.
Cheers, Sam. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
It's a real
my
honor.
pleasure. It was my pleasure.
I'm a big listener of your podcast and a huge fan of Baird Beer, and so when I got the first things first.
Exactly. Priorities.
Absolutely. When I got the invitation to be on the show, I was really excited. So thank you again.
Oh, of course. I mean, I couldn't pass up the opportunity because we've talked so much in the past, and it just seemed like an obvious choice. It's like, oh yeah, get Mac on the podcast.
Well, let's do it. Yeah,
Obviously.
Here I am.
Well, let's just start little things. So what beer are you enjoying?
Okay. Well, I am enjoying my favourite
Ooh.
of Baird's seasonal beers.
Well, shit, that was the first question I was going to ask you. Damn.
And this will be over much quicker than Sam's other podcast.
All right, that's it. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I will answer all 20 questions in one. This is the Carpenter's Mikan Ale,
Ooh.
and it is absolutely fantastic. And it's one of those beers that I can remember exactly when I first tried it.
Oh, this
as
is
well.
going to be a good story.
In the Nakameguro tap room. Myself and my fellow crew of Tokyo Yakult Swallows fans were meeting in the Nakameguro tap room. We'd even reserved that nice sofa area that you have right in front of the TV.
Yeah.
In the days when that was like the only big TV that was there.
The Gaijin area.
The Gaijin area, and we were there to watch the Swallows away, and I went, and I'd been recommended it actually by my friend Kozo. So I'm not, on the whole, a fan of overly fruity beers. Not beers, just to clarify, not beers that have their fruit character that comes from the hops. That's fantastic. What I mean is, like a strawberry ale. You know,
Yeah.
wouldn't be the first thing that I would order.
Exactly.
In a bar. So I was a bit skeptical.
Someone's calling. Just so you guys know, we are right now at the Harajuku tap room. They've been kind enough to turn the music off for a little bit. They're still they're prepping all the delicious food for today, but we're gonna steal their space for a little bit. But just so you guys know, that's what the ringing is in the background. It's not your ears.
So there's real Baird life going on around us. There's the Harajuku tap room is famous for its yakitori.
Yes.
And there is some delicious fresh chicken being prepared around us right now.
With gloves, of course, with gloves.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, exactly. Health and safety officers everywhere. And so that phone call was probably people trying to
Make a reservation.
Yeah. Fantastic. Anyway, so speaking of other tap rooms, so Nakameguro tap room, there it was. The Mikan Ale touched my lips, and I immediately fell in love with it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's an absolutely fantastic
Love
beer.
at first sip.
Yeah, it really was, and yeah, I know. How appropriate.
We just so happen to have the poster for the artwork right here in front of us.
And I know obviously did my research, and I know the story around it. Obviously, the Carpenter, the man, the one and only.
Yeah.
And the amazing work.
Hands.
Yeah, and I was finally able to meet him when I came down to Shuzenji.
Oh, you did.
That was the first time.
That's right.
Met him.
Right. You met him there. I think I took a picture of you guys together.
Yes, you did, which was actually the first time I met you face to face as well.
That's right. We had emailed, but not met yet.
No. So here we are. So yeah, what are you drinking?
Well, I decided to copy you. I did the same thing. I got a Carpenter's Mikan Ale because hey, it's in season.
How do you rate it compared to the other seasonals?
I honestly like this. I mean, I like the Natsu Mikan Ale too, but
yeah,
it's a bit too tart.
Yeah.
And I like this because it's a bit more subtle. You get kind of the softer, more orange-like Mikan flavor out of it.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
It's a little bit more bitter, but not tart.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that.
And often when you have a fruit beer, it really kind of you're drinking that. It overpowers the entire experience of even drinking the beer.
Yeah. You
But,
wouldn't even know it's a beer.
Yeah. In this case, that's not what's going on.
Right.
That's what makes it absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. It's a beer with Mikan. It's not Mikan with some beer in there.
Exactly. And even where you source the Mikan from is really
That's
incredible.
I know. It's a great place. You should come for next year's harvest.
Ooh, yes please.
Up in the hills of Heda.
Well, I will come. So 2021, I will be doing a few more things like that, I think.
Oh, really?
Well,
That would make a great video blog.
yeah, well, exactly, because, this year we have a very famous sporting event.
No, Rugby World Cup is finished, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
We are still in mourning from the Rugby World Cup. And as a small consolation, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government are serving up the Olympics and Paralympics.
Oh, that's right, yeah. That's right. They threw us a bone with that.
So,
Like, okay, you can have your
it's
Olympics.
like to help with the withdrawal from the absolutely incredible Rugby World Cup.
Right.
And so, yeah, this year is going to be obviously a very busy year for Tokyo tourism and Japan tourism, and therefore for me and my company, Maction Planet.
Which is a great segue, because I wanted to ask you, what do you do, man?
Sure. So, I've been in Japan now for 13 and a half years.
Wow.
I don't count the halves, but it's funny because I was
You
talking
just-
recently. I thought for the purposes of this, I would put the half in. But it's like when you're a kid, when you write, you draw a picture. I
Yeah.
still write, by Mac, age 3.5 or something.
And you sign your emails that way too, which I thought was weird at first, but now that I met you, it makes sense.
Yeah, it all comes together. So, so I've been here for that long, and for the first part of that period, I was working in the finance industry. But for the last 3 years, I have owned my own company, which is called Maction Planet, and we provide bespoke travel experiences in Tokyo and, in fact, all across Japan.
Oh, I didn't know that you did all across Japan tours as well.
Yeah, things kind of expanded from being just me and kind of just Tokyo, or if people wanted me to guide them around the country, to now having a pretty resilient and absolutely fantastic, highly trained, hand-picked network of guides and experience providers literally all over the country.
Oh, wow.
In kind of the key areas of obviously Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, Kanazawa, but also in some of the more remote places as well.
Wow. So you've got a whole network of people that will you can just, if someone wants to go to Hokkaido, you'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
I've got these 3 people up there they can do your bidding.
Exactly, so we do trip planning as well, so in fact that's actually a real life example of a trip I'm working on right now.
Oh, really?
Where there's a family and they want to do some stuff by themselves, some stuff guided, but they wanted us to plan the whole experience. So yeah, they'll be up in fact in Hokkaido, which is a great area to travel around, I think.
Yeah.
Really, still very undervisited.
Unfortunately, yeah. I've only been there a couple times, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's so
Just
beautiful.
love it, yeah.
We're so lucky in this country to have this. It's an incredibly long country.
Yeah.
Right? It's like right now, if you want to take a ship from the north of Hokkaido, you have to be on an icebreaker.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
if you're heading from kind of Abashiri kind of area, all the way down to Okinawa.
Hmm.
And the southern, even Okinawa itself is pretty long. So you
Yeah.
have some of the really remote islands down south.
Never mind how long that takes.
Yeah, right. So if you have the travel time,
Exactly.
you can do it all. Even right now, you could have a 2-week holiday and you could spend half of it skiing, and then half of it in
On a ferry.
tropical paradise. Yeah, on a ferry, exactly.
Wow. Okay, so Maction Planet, and of course I follow you guys on Twitter. I love the content that you make. You're not just a travel guide though. I mean, you make a lot of content that goes on the web as well. I mean, I heard that you had some trouble with YouTube in the past. Is it okay to touch on that?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's all in the public domain.
Are we going to get struck down for talking about it now?
No, I know. Yeah. They're all listening, all these devices, right? I saw
The
this
government's
week
there.
that Facebook are now going to make apparent exactly how much they know about you.
Oh no.
And people
I don't want them to.
No, it's not. We don't. Please stop.
Yeah.
Facebook, if you're listening, In fact, you are listening. That's the whole point.
What is Google gonna start mailing us our search histories in the mail or something?
Well, they'll mail them to everybody.
Here's what you Googled this week.
Here's your
No!
friends and family circle. No, anyway, so thanks for touching on that, Sam. So I guess I do. So initially, it started off as just blogging on the website, and I've always loved writing. So I visit an art exhibition and you know, Alberto Giacometti retrospective at the National Arts Center in Nogizaka in Tokyo, and I would want to write something about that. You know, that's just very natural to me, to try to get the message out about all of these amazing things that are going on in the city. And you know, there are a lot of websites now that have English language Tokyo content, but they do tend to focus all on, you know, the same things. You know?
Yeah.
And I like to focus on kind of the niche things. You know, so Tetsu Fusen, you know, a man who's only ever had 2 retrospectives of his Japanese style artwork in this country.
Yeah.
You know. There's literally like nobody's ever written about him in English, you know.
I bet most Japanese people haven't written about him
Well,
either.
you know what's interesting? You know, obviously you've lived in this country for a while. You know, we love our train posters. Those posters that they put up encouraging you not to have your music on loud, or how to ride an escalator in the correct way.
Yes.
Exactly.
The manner propaganda.
So I was super excited when I came down the steps of my local station to see one of these posters, and they had a Tetsu Fusen artwork of Mount Fuji as the top half of the poster.
Oh my god.
And I was probably the only, you know, like one of a handful of people in the city.
I know who that is.
Who, you know, who was able to, so with my tour guests, you know, that kind of adds real value to their experience, I think, that, you know, even these mundane things are actually really thought about in this very deep cultural fashion, you know, which is a great part of living in this place, you know, the attention to detail, which is a big cliche in Japan. But, you know, when you highlight it even down to these kind of level, like the thought that's gone into this train manners poster, is amazing.
And if you can tell people about that, I bet that just you know, it makes their trip even that much better.
Yeah.
You know, they get that little bit of information that probably some other guy wouldn't have given them. You know, it's like, oh, these are mana posters in Japan. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it, and I think that's led to people writing a lot of nice things about what we do on TripAdvisor as well.
Yeah.
So it has been a big part, and you know, all the guides who I work with around the country, you know, they have that level of kind of pretty deep and quite intense, you know, expertise on a lot of different areas. You know, for us, guiding is not just pointing at buildings and then telling you how old they are.
Next.
Yeah. Exactly, it's much more about understanding, you know, all of these amazing aspects of the cultural infrastructure here.
Right, and everybody I'm sure has their own strengths and weaknesses, and you know, some people know certain things that others don't. And I think that makes it interesting then for the you know, the tourists as well, you know, that maybe their guide is an anime freak and he can tell you all you want to know about certain animes. The other guy, you know, maybe you're like an art freak and you know, this artist that you can pick up on, and it's just everybody has their own characteristics, and I think that really adds to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I prefer the term otaku to freak, I guess. But
I'm one of the people that prefers that term, I think.
Yes, yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. And you know, one of the things that I challenge myself and I challenge the other guides who work with me is that, you know, I want them to be that level of expertise on a number of different areas.
Okay.
You know, whether it's craft beer, whether it's Japanese whiskey, sake, shochu, art, architecture, you know, anime, manga, rugby, football, baseball, I mean, whatever it is, you know.
Just know something.
Just know as much as you can about everything.
Right.
that's the asymptote. It's like an asymptote, you know, the thing that you tend towards but you never will quite reach.
There you go.
So that's the
never
goal.
stop learning.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of the Baird philosophy as well.
Yes,
It's
yes.
one of the reasons
To
why
keep,
I really
you know, keep growing, keep, you know, trying new things, even if you screw up.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so going back to the content thing that you asked about. Yeah, so,
back to that.
So yeah, I was blogging, and then I was always putting a lot of content on YouTube, short stuff. But then the famous sporting event happened last year that you alluded to, the Rugby World Cup.
Yes. Oh yeah.
2019. We started on Friday the 20th of September, and I just decided that this was going to be you know, the point at which I really kind of ramped up a bit of the video production. And specifically what I wanted to do is I wanted to show people the true fan experience of going to a game. You know, I wasn't interested, I filmed some footage of the game, but that wasn't the main focus.
Right.
The main focus was, you know, here's what you do, you come out of the station and there's, you know, a bunch of crazy Irish fans, all gathered together, singing songs, the amazing Welsh kind of choir anthems that they sing, or the Argentinians, always bringing a lot of fun to the party.
Everybody has their own war songs.
Yeah, and their own way of preparing for games.
Right.
Spoiler alert, they will involve drinking excessive quantities
What?
of beer. And I wanted people to really experience that, because that's a part that's just not really touched on in depth by the mainstream media. They'll have a few interviews with a few fans, cut together choice words for the end of a news report, but spending half an hour, 1 hour on a specific game and what it was like basically to go from the station to the stadium via all of this amazing on the streets atmosphere. It was so fun. People, a lot of Japanese people started watching some of these vlogs, and then they would come to the games even if they didn't have tickets, but just to see this on the street atmosphere for themselves, especially around the Yokohama area.
Because that's something that it doesn't happen in Japan, the whole pre-game ritual. I mean, they have their rituals in America, it's, where they get out in the parking lot and they
the tailgating.
Yeah, tailgate parties, and every, culture will have their own ritual party, I guess, and the Japanese, I'm not sure what they do, maybe.
Well, there's not that kind of huge build-up going into sporting events, kind of on the streets, right?
Right.
And so that was something really new and really fun for people, So you would come out of Tobitaki Station, which is where, the Tokyo Stadium, Ajinomoto Stadium, because, they did, of course, they're sponsors, they didn't have the sponsors' rights to use that name.
See, now that's going to get us struck down, because you mentioned that copyrighted material.
We're already in the bad book.
We're down.
So you'd come out there and there'd be a bar and people selling the headbands, and then the McDonald's there doing this incredibly brisk trade. Then the 7-Eleven selling selling an insane amount of beer, and people just love that. And then that whole plaza where people would congregate and sing songs and just generally jump up and down before heading to the stadium itself. So really, really fabulous. So anyway, that's been a big part of my life now, and I'm very lucky some people have seen that content and they've got in touch and they've actually asked me and Maction Planet to produce other content.
Wow.
So
there was, good reason that results from you ramping up your video production.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that the only way you'll ever get that kind of result is just by putting yourself out there. There's a lot of people who do sit there and complain, nobody's discovering me. Well,
right.
You really have to allow yourself to be discovered. And definitely my experience in the last 3 years of founding and then growing Maction Planet has been, the more that you have things out there, you can't predict really how people will find you.
Yeah.
But they will find you, and good things will come of it.
Do you consider yourself to be an influencer?
Not yet.
No?
No.
You haven't influenced enough people yet?
No, well, I've influenced a lot of people to come to bed.
Thank you. And get under the influence?
And get under the influence, nice, I like it. One of my very good friends is the author Janelle Patrick, and her incredible book series, The Only in Tokyo Mysteries. I've definitely influenced some people to read them.
Okay.
You should absolutely check that out if you haven't.
I haven't heard of those.
But the following is still niche. Actually, the Rugby World Cup helped us grow the following on YouTube from about 300 subscribers to about 2,500 subscribers or so. And then we're just taking it from there, kind of consolidating and then seeing what happens.
Wow, that's very impressive. That that huge jump that you saw.
Yeah, people, people just respond to good content. I still went back and put a lot of niche stuff. So since the Rugby World Cup, there's a lot of stuff out there that's only got 80, 90, 100 views.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very important, and you see it a little bit with what you've done and the amazing social media work that you yourself are doing for Baird Beer. It is important also to stay true to what's important to you.
Yes.
Yes. Not to just chase views, chase subscribers, chase likes.
Yeah.
So as a very concrete example of this, I have put up a few vlogs. I went to an experimental music show with Roger Turner, who's a phenomenal drummer, a British drummer. He's travelled all over the world. But when I say experimental music,
What are we talking about?
I sat down at this performance with him and 2 other Japanese performers collaborating at the Hara Museum of Contemporary Art in Shirogawa. And I hadn't really done my research too well.
Ooh.
I love supporting the Hara. It's an amazing art space. And I'm a member of the museum. I thought I'll go along to one of these events. And then silence, anticipating this performance. And the first sound went up from, I don't know if you can call it singing, something like this. That was the vocal.
Like a whale call?
Yeah.
Or maybe Yoko Ono?
Or Yoko Ono doing a whale
There
call.
you go.
And then some experimental, Roger Turner pulls out a feather duster and uses that to smack, the drums and.
Isn't this the kind of thing that Monty Python made fun of all the time?
Yes, exactly.
This sounds like a Monty Python skit.
But it's incredible being like in the company of this thing when it's taken extremely seriously. And I mean, Roger is an unbelievably accomplished musician. I got a chance to talk to him at half time, and he allowed me to film the final performance of the evening, which was about 30 minutes.
Mm.
And I just thought, I love that concept of archiving. I think that's one thing that's really great. If like I've traveled to other countries, I'm very lucky, I've been to 108 countries, and I really like to dig deep. Sometimes I travel by myself, sometimes with friends, sometimes as part of tour groups, and I like to dig deep on what's been written about a place, and you'll just find this really obscure blog post that somebody has written, about this one building that nobody else has covered. And I love that concept on the internet, that there's all these people around the world and everybody's kind of archiving something, So I saw this and it was on video and I thought, for posterity, I'm going to put this up there. Now, it probably led to me, I say probably, it did lead to me losing some subscribers. Because
happened.
Yeah, because people I think had come in and subscribed expecting rugby content, exclusively rugby content, and that's not what it's going to be. So anyway.
I was disappointed. I had unsubscribed after the rugby finished.
Exactly.
No,
What is Mac doing? Just trying Coca-Colas.
Okay. Well, and speaking of segues, so I just wanted to mention real quick, how did we get connected with Baird Beer? So just kind of to introduce that. I mean, I'll give you time at the end to really get in and talk about that. But I just wanted to mention your hanami parties.
Sure.
Those are, I have not been able to join one yet, but from what I hear, they are the premier hanami parties in Tokyo.
Thank you so much. One of the things that has been a joy of what I've been able to do in the last 3 years has been building these relationships actually with companies like Baird, who I truly respect. So I've gone kind of from fan to collaborator.
Cohort.
And I'm hoping to take that cohortism and collaboration to the next level in 2020 and 2021. So there's a lot of things I want to talk to Brian Baird and John Chesson about as well. So I think there's really a lot that we can do. But this all started because I founded Maction Planet, and we launched the website on February the 20th, 2017, and I thought, well, I want to do something to celebrate. I want to do something to thank the people who'd supported me in that journey, and I wanted to do something also that would be of interest to visitors and tourists, and of course hanami season coming up.
Yes.
So I wanted to have a ticketed hanami party, and then I thought, well, how are we going to make that something that would be worthwhile for visitors to come?
Alcohol.
So, alcohol, yes, alcohol. Special alcohol. So the first person I'm going to talk to at anything like that is going to be Christopher Pellegrini. Now, Christopher Pellegrini is my collaborator in a number of different areas in Maction Planet. He's basically the world's premier authority on shochu.
Yes.
He's a qualified sake sommelier.
And he's an author as well.
And he's an author, He literally wrote the first non-Japanese language book on shochu.
Yes.
The shochu handbook. And I wanted shochu to be a part of the event, so we agreed. He said, well, I'm going to bring along 8 to 10, kind of hard to get, or bottles that give a good reflection of shochu, and we were going to do shochu no hodai. But, I love all alcohol.
8 to 10 bottles? I don't know. How long did that last?
Yeah, well, we also brought along I wanted craft beer to be a part of the event, right? So I reached out to a number of breweries around Tokyo. And the first to get back to me was Brian directly.
Oh, wow.
And he said something which has always stuck in my mind. He said, we don't often partner with people, private individuals, as it were. But, your request was so enthusiastic. He could literally read the enthusiasm on email.
Yeah.
Not normally a medium known for,
Dreadness.
Yeah, exactly. And he said, my team will be in touch. And sure enough, I got an email from one Mr. John Chesson.
Nice.
And we
I
put
know
things
that
in
guy.
motion. Yeah, amazing individual.
Yes.
And Baird wouldn't be here really without him and his investment and his amazing expertise
Yes.
as well. And fast forward then to hanami season, and then we were coming here to Harajuku Tap Room to pick up kegs of draft beer with John himself supporting us during the day.
That's what I've heard, that you guys have to haul kegs from here over to the park, which is probably a good, over a kilometer, right?
Oh no, it's substantial, plus all the people around.
Right. It's that season, so it's kind of like a game. You're just kind of
Yeah.
diving in between people.
Grand keg auto.
There you go.
It's like you're literally dodging people with prams, you're dodging,
Joggers.
You're dodging
Bicyclists.
tourists.
You've got the cosplay guys coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of the dancing Elvises.
Yeah.
Exactly. People handing out free packs of Pringles. Gets more surreal every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, from humble beginnings, that party in 2017 was a huge success.
Right.
We sold out all the tickets we wanted, and the same thing has happened in 2018 and 2019, and we're doing the same thing again on Sunday the 29th of March, 2020 in Yoyogi Park. And we'd love as many
Nice.
people listening to this to be there.
Are there still tickets available at this?
Yes, there are.
All right.
We've sold, so far, we started selling actually in the middle of December, and we've sold more at this point than we have for any of the other events.
Nice.
And the majority of the tickets are actually to new people who haven't been before.
Which I'm sure, for you, it's, to get out to more people, just that must make you happy.
It's so happy, we got when we get people coming in and buying 6 tickets, as a block for people, we don't know, they've just found it on the social media or online or watched our videos about it on YouTube or with the promotion that you support us with, whatever it is, people are finding out about the event, and it's kind of becoming the place to be, the hanami of hanamis, as I like to call it.
Now, just weird situation here. It's kind of a weird winter, right? Yesterday was practically spring level temperatures.
I know.
What happens if this non-existent climate change screws up hanami season and the hanami are not there? What, do you just do it anyways and say, imagine that you're seeing flowers.
We'll find a solution, if that solution involves
Spray painting trees pink.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Some paint,
There you go.
and or a pink blanket.
I can see you getting there at 4 in the morning, stapling pink paper to the trees.
Oh, speaking of 4 in the morning, that is actually, me and Chris,
Mm.
we're meeting up at 5:30 in the morning
Oh, geez.
every year to make sure we get the premier spot
'Cause you've got-
underneath, the mankai, the full blue
Right.
cherry blossom coverage.
Because you've got to get your own spot. You can't reserve it in advance, right?
No, first come, first served on that,
Oh,
that
wow.
turf. Yeah, well, you know that some of the cherry blossoms have actually, it's the odd tree that actually, or even sometimes part of a tree that gets confused and starts blooming
Yeah.
early. But now we've been very, very lucky the last 3 years. We've basically hit the full bloom pretty much to the day or 1 or 2 days either side of it.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
So I think this is something for people who are listening to this, who are planning a trip here. A lot of people still seem to think that cherry blossom really happens in April, and they'll time a trip in mid-April. If you want to hit cherry blossom in Tokyo and Kyoto,
Prime time.
you really need to be here the last weekend of March. That's your best bet.
This is a cherry blossom expert, guys.
If you're because what that will do is typically what we've seen in the last few years is that will actually mean that you'll be here around the Mankai with a full bloom. If you get one of those seasons where it comes later, you'll catch the start of the season, which is still very beautiful. And if it comes a lot earlier, very, very unlikely, but if it starts coming, 10, 12, 13, 14 March, then you'll still be here for the end.
Right.
So you hedge your bets by coming last weekend of March. You are really putting yourself under a lot of pressure if you come in the middle of April.
Yeah, then you're just kind of trying to play catch up. You might see, you might see the pretty, look when the leaves fall and they kind of create that nice little snowy effect. You'll probably see that a little bit.
Yes.
But you are, I'm with you on that. You're missing the season, the prime point of the season.
And you can go north, of course. I mean, the cherry blossom, kind of front,
Right.
as it were, moves slowly north across the country.
Right.
But if you want to see it in some more iconic spots in Tokyo and Kyoto,
Yeah.
then you definitely want to be here then.
And that's another thing about cherry blossoms too, is that they're not all, synced. There are cherry blossoms that bloom not all times of the year, but they're kind of off the regular schedule. For example, out in Izu we have the Kawazu Sakura,
Yeah.
in the Kawazu area, which are pretty much in bloom. I think right now.
Yeah, they're going to start. Exactly.
Yeah.
More and more starting very soon, right? So
Right.
start of February.
Right.
That's when you're going to see that.
Because Izu is it's a warmer area, so the cherry blossoms bloom a lot earlier. So if you come pretty much any time from February or March, there's probably somewhere in the country where you can see cherry blossoms.
Yeah, again, that's often misunderstood and underappreciated, just how many different species there are.
Right.
And subspecies as well. And there is cherry blossom blooming from basically the start of February, all the way until the end of April, even May.
Now, is that
Where to go?
in your Maction Planet guys? Are you the cherry blossom expert? Is that?
Yes. No.
The cherry boy.
Amongst all of them, myself, it's something that's really close to my heart.
Mm.
I mean, it's such an iconic part of the country.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, it almost to cliche levels,
Yes.
Just moving away from beer to whiskey, we've had such a shortage of Japanese whiskey. A lot of companies are just thinking, well, how can we capitalize on it? And Johnnie Walker have a bottle of Johnnie Walker Blue, sort of an airport exclusive edition.
Oh really?
And that bottle, it's as if somebody swallowed a lot of Japanese iconography and then threw it up.
Oh god.
And then plastered the bottle with it. So you could, you've been here long enough. Mount Fuji,
Of course.
geisha.
Is there a Godzilla on there?
There might as well
There
be.
probably is. Couple ninjas.
Couple of ninjas. And of course,
Anime girl.
exactly. I mean, all of it. And including, of course, the cherry blossom. And it's just such an important, part of the Japanese psyche.
Iconic. It's just it's like you mentioned, it's an iconic cultural symbol. It's like Fuji-san.
Yeah.
Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
You see a cherry blossom tree in full bloom. It's kind of like it gives you a very Japanese feel.
Yeah, exactly. And it will never get old, And I think that's part of it. A lot of people talk about,
Does it not? I
the
don't know.
cherry blossom rain, and it's just not as romantic as we said. But like people talk about the fruit, the symbol of the cherry blossom, especially the someyoshi, the fragility of life, these kind of things. But actually, one of the things as each cherry blossom season rolls around, I just tend to think, here I am, lucky enough to be alive to do exactly the same thing and take exactly the same photos of often exactly the same trees. But it's great, it's great that we're able to do that, and we live in a world where
It's so. No, I need to borrow some of your thinking there. Because I go the other way. I'm like, oh man, I'm taking the same picture of the same tree. What the hell am I doing with my life?
No, just be thankful. Thankful that you're still here.
It's such a good perspective. You should write a self-help book.
It's been said. It's been said before. But yeah, I'll put it on the to-do list along with all the other projects.
Please do. Maction Planet presents. Well, so I prepared, just a round of about 10 questions that I would just like to throw your way, just get some fun answers out of this. There's no right or wrong, but you will be graded.
Okay.
No, but just so people can get to know you a little bit. So we're gonna start with some logical ones and then just go less and less logical.
Okay.
First off, I think you kind of covered this one. I just want to know, what's your favorite Baird beer?
Well, it is certainly from the seasonals. It is the Carpenter's Mikan Ale, and from the 12, from the whatever you call them,
The year-round.
The year-round 12, yeah. It would be the single take session ale.
Wow, that's not an answer I hear very much, but I'm impressed.
I'm originally from the UK, from England, and kind of that concept of the session ale, is something that's really close to my heart. And my rankings of whether I tend to like beers, and especially whether I want to return to them, is their sessionability. And I think with the single take session ale, you've really hit that nail on the head.
Yeah,
It's an absolutely fantastic beer.
It is. You're right. It is one that you can just keep drinking and drinking and drinking.
Yeah.
And drinking and drinking.
And it does exactly what it says on the tin, as it were. And it is fantastic. A little fun fact for you. Originally, of course, I thought it was called the single take session ale because you do sometimes mix, right? The Japanese, says on Sayori and Boreko Jikan strong golden ale. So sometimes you mix the Japanese and the English.
We love our bamboo beers. We do.
So I was thinking, wow, you can really taste the bamboo.
Did you honestly think there was bamboo?
I didn't think there was bamboo.
Oh, okay.
I thought it might be some reference to a man who once grew a single bamboo
somewhere. A deeper story behind it.
There's always a bloody story with all of these labels.
There is, and they're all on the website too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next up, what inspired you to start the Maction Planet Hanami? And I think you kind of covered this already, but...
Sure, yeah, but, in terms of inspiration, I just want to really bring value, and I want to bring value to the tourist and the travel experience in Japan. And so that was literally it, I wanted to think, right, if I was a visitor to Tokyo, okay, you're walking around the parks, maybe you've grabbed some cans of macro beer from the convenience store, and you're wondering, okay, and everybody's very friendly in this country. You may well get roped in to some random party, but coming along to something where you're going to be drinking draft craft beer, basically Japan's premier craft brewery, where you're going to be having shochu curated by the world's foremost shochu expert. You don't have to turn up at 5 in the morning to reserve the premier spot in Yoyogi Park, Tokyo's 4th largest park, and one of our prime cherry blossom viewing spots. That was the inspiration behind it, and that continues to be the inspiration really for my business and for Maction Planet. Is just a desire to bring value, and if you find that you can bring value to people, then good things will happen.
Yes, and like pretty much when you said it right there, it made so much sense. You are going out, you're getting a great spot. You're getting not just some cheap vodka there. You're having like you mentioned, good craft beer, good Japanese sake by the guy who literally wrote the book on Japanese sake.
Yeah,
it's like you're really offering a lot of value there.
Absolutely. Sam there is using the word sake in the Japanese sense of the word, meaning all alcohol, of which shochu is a subset.
Well, I was using it in the English term, and that any alcohol made in Japan is sake.
Yeah, sake, yeah, exactly.
Nihonshu.
Absolutely. So nihonshu and shochu, which is really what Chris is he's
so he does. Okay.
But he's a nihonshu sommelier.
Yes.
Licensed nihonshu sommelier, but his real expertise is shochu.
Okay.
And so that's also interesting because it's not something that foreigners are very familiar with just yet.
No.
Chris and me and people who work with him are trying to really change that, and doing a lot of promotion and trying to get a lot more bottles kind of overseas. But it's a great opportunity. So anyway, that's where it's, if you're looking for the one-word inspiration, it was kind of, value. And bringing value to visitors to this country.
Now, since you have such a valuable package there, do you ever get people just kind of walking by and going, I'm going to be part of that group. Hey, what can I do to be part of your group? And then do you ever allow people to just pay money and just join? Or
In the first year, that's when we hammered, because of course it was the first year we did it. We didn't know the dynamic and what was going to happen.
Right.
So there's two things that really struck me in the first year. One of them was that people came up and said how much for a beer, and I'm like, sorry, this has all been pre-sold to ticket holders. And the second one was the part I didn't appreciate in terms of that bringing value, and this was true both for residents here and also for the foreigners, our visitors, is
that omotenashi.
yes. Oh, you saw that.
Seeps right into you.
Seamless.
Man.
It's the getting there at 5 a.m. I thought
Yes.
it would be about the craft beer and the shochu, because nobody else is serving draft beer, let alone beer of the quality that you guys produce. But it was actually, people were like, basically we were able to turn up at midday knowing we had a spot, a great spot, and that
They
there
didn't
were
have
going
to
to be great people
bring
around.
any drinks with them.
Yeah, and so we just turn up and get drunk and not worry about leaving anything, losing anything.
Yeah.
So that's really.
But people, did they bring their own food?
We don't provide the food,
Okay.
and so you can either bring your own, or you can. There's a lot of those, matsuri stands, festival stalls of
right.
food around Yoyogi Park, and you can go and get your okonomiyaki, your giant jumbo stick of,
Hot dogs,
hot dog,
cheese.
butanic or whatever, and then you're good. So yeah.
All right. Question number 3. Are there any memories of hanami were there any really great episodes that have happened in the hanamis you've done that are just like, I can't believe that shit happened?
Yes. Yes, there have. Most of them involve some drunkenness.
I would imagine.
Let me think. One of them is that I don't know how much. I'm not going to name any names here.
That's I can bleep it out.
But after we have a ticket package, a large ticket package. It comes with 4 beers and it's basically shochu nome hodai.
Right.
And some people do take advantage of that hospitality, and we want them to. But sometimes that leads to a bit of sleeping under the trees, passing out in the park, and some other shenanigans.
Rowdiness.
And, well, our group's always very well behaved, but positive, genki, healthy, happy interaction with other groups in the park as well.
Yes, the hanami interaction.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the hanami, because it's like, especially recently, because everybody just packs in like sardines, and they get little, the little areas right next to each other. So you get to know your neighbors pretty well
absolutely.
after a few years.
It can be territorial,
Yes.
if you're not, willing to just share the hanami spirit, and the hanami spirit is not about that. It's about getting on with the people around you and sharing this joy of this sort of transient event.
Right. It doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah. So that's the only answer I'm going to give to that question.
Okay. That's probably best to keep that vague.
But in terms of actually memorable things that I can more clearly talk about, I've been so honoured. One of my favourite beers, so my second favourite seasonal beer is the Bereko Jikan Strong Golden Ale, which punches in at this phenomenal 9%. It's a 9% beer that does not taste like a 9% beer.
It's dangerous in a bottle.
And that's exactly what we need for the hanami. There's even hanami on the label.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a sakura, that is, the cherry blossoms on the label. So when John offered it to us, and he offered it to us before it was on sale to the general public.
I believe, yes, you're the first one to put any of that on sale.
Yeah, so that's a real, that's a real honor for us.
Wonderful. So, just to jump into the next question then, what kind of sake is your favorite? We've talked about your favorite beers. What about your favorite sake?
Oh no, that's actually a really tough question. There are 1,200 sake breweries in this country,
Yes.
Nihonshu breweries that is, making between them about 20,000 bottles of sake.
Very impressive.
So I don't actually have, I think, a favorite. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I can't answer that question. I have a few different ones that I like, and there's so many seasonal sake now Nihonshu being brought out by all of these different breweries. I'm trying a new one every week. And unfortunately, one thing that you do find with sake, and I think this is a problem almost for some of our visitors as well, is it's tough for them to then find that sake again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, one, you don't know where to buy it.
Yeah.
It might be a seasonal thing that, there's one
Yes,
batch
indeed.
made of ever.
I have guests and they are there in Kyoto and they go, oh my God, and they'll show me a photo of a bottle they've had, and it's really just going to be very tough to get that specific bottle here.
Yeah.
In this city,
You can look for it, but
Yeah.
good luck.
Exactly. So there.
So there. Question number 5. What would be your favorite Japanese food?
Probably ramen.
Oh, good choice. Good
Yeah.
choice. Now what kind of ramen man are you? Do you go for like a tonkotsu? Are you a miso guy? Thick, fatty?
Tonkotsu is actually my least favorite style, I think. Or rather, when it's done well, it's done very well. But I do think that some of the tonkotsu ramen chains that have become very big and very famous internationally, I just don't really rate them. I just find the broth is too light.
The ones where people line up out the door and
Yeah, some of those places.
they have a certain red and green banner.
Those guys are not so bad.
I actually kind of enjoy it as like a ramen fast food.
Yeah, those guys are not so bad. There are other ones I'm thinking of.
Okay.
But no, I love miso,
Mm.
but like really deep, kind of fusion style
Flavorful.
miso, flavorful. Tori paitan, the chicken broth ramen, is a favorite style of mine. That's become more popular over the last 5 years.
Right.
So yeah, big ramen fan. I also love shio ramen. But shio's the hardest style, I think, to get right. Like when you're cooking something,
Right.
It's very easy to either under salt or over salt something. So, shio, it's got to be good.
And also the other flavors in a shio ramen come out more because the shio is, it's a more subtle flavor.
Yeah.
If you have a very like a spicy miso ramen, you can kind of mess up the chashu a little bit. People won't notice. It'll get covered in broth. But with shio, it's if your chashu's off, they'll notice.
Yeah, exactly right. So it really, which means that the noodles have to themselves be very flavorful, handmade, very springy. Rather than often I find, say, with tonkotsu as well, is that you could be dumping like any thin noodle into this thing.
Right. Well, we're just all over the place with this today. This is not a beer podcast at all.
No, this is a general advice for people coming to Japan podcast.
Maybe we can start doing that. Your words of wisdom. Today's words of wisdom from Mac. Moving on to question number 6. Now, of course, with Maction Planet, I'm sure you get all around the city of Tokyo and other places as well. But just within Tokyo, what is your favorite neighborhood?
You really, you're asking the tough questions today. This is it. Any future
Hard-hitting.
guests, remember this is hard-hitting Sam here.
Hard-hitting, yeah.
It's difficult because I really do love them. I'm on record as saying that my favorite place in the world is the Shibuya crossing. And I know that, you can't compare that to the Great Barrier Reef or and to the beauty of landscapes of Antarctica or, the Grand Canyon.
It's a different beast.
I'm not saying. What I'm saying is in terms of human urban expression,
Oh my God,
Shibuya
yes.
crossing is like, for me, the ultimate. And kind of also, almost by that statement, what I'm trying to say as well is that it should remove the pretension a little bit from tourism.
Right.
Everybody, you can read some of the nice things people have written online about us, or just join a tour with us. You'll be going to a lot of places that your friends won't be visiting, a lot of off the beaten track kind of experiences. But that doesn't cheapen the stuff that's actually just amazing and that people come to.
Yeah.
Shibuya is a super fun neighborhood to be in at night. Harajuku is a phenomenal neighborhood to be in.
Yes.
During the day.
They're cliched by now, and they're pretty much iconic of Japanese or Tokyo tourism.
Yeah.
But that's not to cheapen it. It is still a fun experience, and if you don't have to walk across it every day, doing it once or twice in your life, that's amazing.
It's a phenomenal experience. So if I had to name one neighborhood, it's actually going to be the neighborhood where I live, and that is Ebisu.
Oh, nice.
And Ebisu is been voted in the past as the most popular neighborhood to live in central Tokyo. So yes, Yokohama and Kichijoji technically came above us in the Sumo survey that they do every year,
But they're not part of central Tokyo.
not
so-
central Tokyo in your face.
Not part of the 23 wards.
Plus Yokohama coming top in a Tokyo survey. It's like people say,
Yeah.
which borough of New York do you want to live in? Boston.
Yeah.
It's just not, Yokohama is actually technically our second biggest city. The fact that you can get there more easily from where we are now than you can to like the east side of central Tokyo.
Exactly.
It's neither here nor there.
I think it's considered technically part of like the greater Tokyo area or something.
It's part of this like 38 million people greater
Right.
Tokyo
Which is essentially
conglomerate.
all of Kanto at this point.
Yeah, absolutely right. So yeah.
Ebisu.
So in conclusion, we'll go with Ebisu, but they're all great for different reasons. I mean, I love going. I mean,
Exactly.
Asakusa is absolutely wonderful.
Mm.
You know, out on the east side, Kiyosumi, Kinshicho are fantastic
And
areas,
I
right?
love that they have different vibes to them. The way that the shops are set up, even like the outside of the shops look different
Yeah.
based on the different neighborhoods.
Exactly. And yet, even when you're in the most modern neighborhoods, then you've got alleys where people retain that tradition. I mean, what people may not appreciate about this, where we're recording from right now, the Harajuku tap room, is that we are literally something like 15 meters away
Stone's
from
throw.
Takeshita Dori,
Yes.
one of the busiest thoroughfares in the country.
Yes.
World famous, Gwen Stefani, Harajuku girls. Everybody wants to come in with the 5-color cotton candy, the amazing soft serve ice cream, the rainbow treats, strawberry fetish, the crepes, and it feels like we're in the middle of a village
Exactly.
right now.
You
And
wouldn't-
we've
you
just
wouldn't know
literally
that.
come like 50 meters away from this unbelievably busy thoroughfare.
If you brought someone through the back roads to here,
Yeah.
they wouldn't know that they were, just 10, 15 meters away from, that street.
Exactly.
Like, what?
Exactly right.
Wonderful. Moving on to, I think we're on number 6 now. What is the most interesting tour that you've done this far? Or memorable? We can go with memorable or interesting. One that sticks out in your mind as, oh, that tour.
I've guided a few famous people around,
Hmm.
and
Are we allowed to say who?
yes, I guided Richard Krajicek, the 1996 Wimbledon winner,
Oh.
the only person to beat Pete Sampras in a singles match from '93 until the year 2000,
Nice.
and his wife, the supermodel and actress and writer Daphne Deckers, who was a Bond girl in the 1997 Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies. So
Really?
that was a real honour. I've guided around the incredible actress Elizabeth Marvel and her husband, also an actor, Bill Camp, and those are some of the ones I can talk about. I've guided around a few heads of state and some heads of government and some cabinet members and things, but I can't talk too much about that.
Well, yeah, that's sensitive material there.
Yeah. So that's fun, and tours with people like that are always going to be very memorable.
Yes.
I get some interesting requests sometimes for things which, again, is there an X-rated version of this podcast? Is there
It's
a
already
way-
R-rated at this point, so you can swear all you want.
Is there a way that you can make the podcast only listenable after 10 p.m.?
You have to show your ID before you listen.
Yeah, because I've had a few interesting requests from people.
Now, personally, or to take someone somewhere?
Yeah, to either provide certain products or certain experiences.
Or service?
That would be, yes.
What?
No comment. That could be interesting. But yeah, look, I mean, I'm so blessed at all of my guests, and I know this sounds like a terrible cliche, it's just a fact. All my guests have been absolutely incredible. And you get a bit of a selection effect. So much of our business now comes through word of mouth that, if I have amazing guests, then their friends are very likely to also be, amazing people as well.
Right,
So,
birds of a feather,
yeah,
flocking together.
absolutely. So yeah, really, every tour is kind of memorable in its own way. No tour is alike. Like literally, I've
You
never
sound
run
like
a
you're
tour.
talking about your children.
Yeah, I know.
I love them all the same.
Well, there is a little bit like that because I often joke that my guests are my kids. I don't have any biological
Did you
kids.
treat them like that? Sometimes? No, don't touch. Stop, don't touch.
Well, we do have a lot of rules in this country.
Yes.
A lot. Many more than for
Go pick up
example,
that cigarette butt right now.
Yeah. Can I put my garbage in this what looks like a bin? No, this is
Yes.
specifically a recycle bin for
This is
PET
cans
bottles
only.
and cans that have been purchased from this vending machine,
Yes.
or other neighbouring vending machines. Do not put your, paper.
Because Japanese people never break those rules, right? They
Well,
never
of
throw
course,
their
of
trash
course,
away in the
but-
wrong bin.
I think as a resident, you know that we have a responsibility. I feel a responsibility as a guide and as a foreign resident to not be that foreigner.
Yes.
So,
And it reflects on, now that you're a business owner as well, it reflects on your business too, and that's,
absolutely, and
Extra
those rules
pressure.
exist, to not jaywalk or to not, litter in the wrong
not jaywalk.
places.
Yeah, never do that either.
Before we confess crimes, so Sam, tell me about some crimes you've done recently.
Well, question number 7.
Yes.
On a purely looks basis, what famous person would you say is your type? What does it have to be a type? Like, is there someone that you think is just, wow, this person is amazingly gorgeous? I didn't realize this would be the hard one.
I know, it's tough. Okay, I'll tell you what, I have a huge crush on Satomi Ishihara,
Whoa!
the actress.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
whether it's a genuine love of her, or the fact that I've been subliminally or liminally, there's nothing
No,
subliminal
no.
about it,
Nope.
liminally influenced by the fact that she is everywhere. She's the face of
That's
Toyota,
right.
she's
Yes.
the face of MUFG, she's the face of Premium Malts and Premium Malts Calder Ale, for example.
Yes.
Right? She's the face of the Tokyo Metro Find My Tokyo campaign. She's the face of Aeon Eikaiwa, English school. So you're seeing her like all the time as you travel around the city.
Whatever interest you have, she's there.
And she's there, and I think I've just been liminally influenced.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one. Next up, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Ooh.
Or what,
Yeah.
what
no, that's a good
compliment makes you
question.
feel the best?
That's a good question. We live by our comments and we live by our reviews, and so all that feedback is just, and the fact it's been so positive, it's just motivation to make things even bigger and better, and for the next year's hanami or the next tour happening the next day. A few comments that people have said which really stick out in my mind, and it's so humbling to be able to read these and to hear people say them. But some guests from November 2018 wrote some reviews online, and they said, Mac cares about your holiday possibly more than you do. And that just really meant a lot to
That's
me.
great. That's
because it was like, I don't take people's time for granted, which is a key resource. I don't take people's money for granted. I appreciate that people are enlisting our services to do things that they wouldn't be able to do themselves.
Right.
Whatever that is, be it. And there's so many facets, for example, to guiding, to supporting people with their travel, whether it's organisation, whether it's the knowledge, whether it's the access, whether it's just the efficiency, and people really want a combination of all of those.
Yeah.
And so to hear that and to sort of go, yes, I do. I do
They
that.
get me. They get me.
I do really want people to have the absolute best time. This is not a job where I'm just punching a clock and you have booked me for 8 hours. I will see you at 9 and we will leave at 5, and in the meantime I'll point at some buildings. Like whether it's one day, whether it's 3 days, whether I'm guiding you all around the country, I want to make sure that there is value and positive experience and and memories in literally every minute of what we do.
Wow.
That's why we spend so much time. I don't take people to the chain places.
Yeah.
We want to take them to independent ramen shops. I don't want people to be drinking macro beer. I want them to be drinking craft beer from the Baird family. These kind of things. I'm always thinking. I don't want them to be although Starbucks they do a lot of seasonal drinks that are only
Yes.
available in Japan.
Yes.
But you know, where possible, I want people to be really going to those independent coffee shops.
Yeah. I'm sure they could find a Starbucks on their own time and go.
Yeah,
There's one around every corner.
Yeah, I mean, I really, and it's something that's been, you know, the guides who I work with in Tokyo. I mean, you know, so I've hired 5% of the people who I've interviewed, and the other guys are great, but they just do not take with that seriousness what I need to see, which is that, you know, they really understand the amount of value that, you know, I want to see delivered.
So that is essentially your manifesto of sorts. You know, they don't have that passion to, you know, make other people's time happy.
Yeah.
Essentially, if they don't put the customer first. And that's kind of similar to Baird, I think, because in the Baird manifesto it talks about how, you know, the tap rooms are essentially our houses.
Yeah.
You know, we're bringing people into our house. Treat, you know, customers like you would treat a guest in your own home. And so I think, you know, that there's some overlap in that thought process there.
Well, and I've said it before. I mean, in the press releases we put out for the hanami, I've said it on video, I've said it on social media. That the Maction Planet shares the same philosophy with Baird Beer. So it's really great to hear that being echoed back by you. And I think that's why, you know, we've had such a great time working together. We're going to continue,
Yes.
you know, working together with some interesting things. Hopefully happening over the next couple of years.
Okay, and jumping into the last question here, suitably the last question. What would you pick if you could choose your last meal?
Okay, I know the answer to this. There is a tempura and sea bream restaurant in Tokyo, which was open for 38 years until the end of 2019.
Oh no.
And will hopefully very soon reopen.
Oh, okay, so it's not permanent.
Yeah, and the name of that restaurant is Yotaro. And it is a family-run restaurant, mum, dad, and the son, Koji. And it is quite frankly the most incredible dining experience. They would be right here, very welcome with talking about Maction Planet, Baird Beer, Yotaro, exactly the same philosophy, exactly the same atmosphere. A favourite restaurant of mine, a favourite restaurant of Koizumi, former Japanese Prime Minister. It's one of their regular customers.
Have you ever seen him there?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I've seen other well-known Japanese, very loyal customers who also love Yotaro as much as I do.
So it's kind of like the Jiro sushi of tempura?
I really believe so. I believe it's massively underrated. Koji actually has become a very good friend of mine. Big shout out to him and the support that he's provided. He's always looked after Maction Planet guests, whether I've taken them there or whether, you know, people come, they just want restaurant recommendations. So I'm like, you know, I'm not on, by the way, Maction Planet, whether it's Baird or anybody else, not on any commission from any bar or restaurant. And as we've got bigger, we've been approached by more and more companies. Take people here, take people there. I refuse to do it because no amount of money compensates for the fact that you've cheapened your kind of morals, you know?
Exactly.
And so, you know, I'll tell them, well, listen, do you want to go to the place where I would, if I were to have my last meal, that this is where I would go? They're like, yes, because you've been to 108 countries.
That was a very dark way to introduce it, but yes, let's go try it.
Well, you know, it's a serious recommendation from a guy who's eaten a lot of food in a lot of the world's great cities, both at the Michelin star level, you know, and then down at the, you know, ramen and burger and pizza level, which is often where I just feel more comfortable anyway.
Right.
And I say, no, you want to go there.
Well,
And the reason why they closed down is because there's redevelopment happening. They used to be based in Roppongi. There was redevelopment happening in that area. So, you know, everybody's had to vacate from those buildings, which are going to be demolished right next to Tokyo Midtown to put up, you know, another 50-story skyscraper. So they are looking for new premises right now. And I wish them all the best in finding them quickly because the world needs Yotaro.
Mac needs his last meal.
I know, exactly.
No.
Multiple times.
Here's hoping that, you know, you don't have to have that last meal anytime soon.
It is a fantastic place.
Yotaro, you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to them. I'll check that out too. Well, that is it for the questions. Thank you for charging through those with me.
No, my pleasure.
It's about that time where we have to say goodbye, but I'll take your time now. Introduce, tell people about Maction Planet. Maybe a few minutes about what's coming up for you guys. How can people get in touch with you? I'll give you the floor here.
Sure, thanks a lot, Sam. So if you haven't gathered from listening to the last however many very, very enjoyable minutes, my name's Mac, and I'm founder and lead guide of a company called Maction Planet. We provide bespoke tours and experiences all across Japan, in all of the major cities and well beyond as well. You can get in touch with us by email at info@mactionplanet.com, and you can follow us on pretty much every major social media network. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, where we focus mainly. We're also on LinkedIn. We're even on TikTok, would you believe?
Oh my god. I'm going to have to follow that.
Yeah, and we even have a radio podcast with a radio show presented by Maction Planet resident DJ Royce Leon on Mixcloud as well. All those episodes are archived there and you can listen to them for free. So that's over 50 episodes of Japanese music. 30-minute episodes, 6 songs each, and then some episodes I co-host with Royce, some I do myself. The majority are hosted by Royce. We talk about the culture, the history behind the music itself. In terms of the travel side, please, any way we can help with enhancing your experience in this incredible country, and please get in touch, whether it's through one-day tours, whether it's through tea ceremony, or visiting sumo training, or whether it's with guiding all around the country or trip planning, we can absolutely support. You can check out our reviews on TripAdvisor. We have over 250 5-star reviews, so very, very honored to say that. And we would absolutely love you to join our hanami party, which we've talked about, on Sunday the 29th of March in Yoyogi Park, where we will be serving draft craft beer and unlimited all-you-can-drink shochu curated by world-renowned expert Christopher Pellegrini. And for listeners of this podcast, we have a discount code. Baird 500, BAIRD 500, will get you 500 yen off a large ticket, and that large ticket will give you access to 4 beers and the shochu nomi hodai, the all-you-can-drink shochu.
Whoa, I didn't realize we were going to be doing that.
Well, that's it.
You just threw that one on.
Sam typing into the computer now to get a ticket. No, our little present to say thank you for listening, and thank you for Sam and Baird Beer for inviting us to be guests on this incredible podcast.
No, it was our pleasure. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for joining us today. I had a wonderful time talking to you, and I hope to see you back again.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. Kanpai.
Kanpai.